New Deep Dive.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a future where discovering new drugs isn't just about years and years of painstaking lab work, but it's also about the incredible speed, the precision, really, of artificial intelligence.
Right.
Well, that future isn't just, way off on the horizon. It feels like it's accelerating right towards human clinical trial.
It really does. Things are moving fast.
So today we're taking a deep dive into this pretty groundbreaking news. AI-designed drugs are basically on the cusp of human trials. And this is spearheaded by Alphabet's, well, their quite innovative drug discovery arm, Isomorphic Labs.
That's the one they spun out of DeepMind.
Exactly. So our mission here is to understand what this really means for the future of medicine, how this, cutting-edge tech actually works, and why it could genuinely be a game changer for tackling some of the world's really tough diseases.
Yeah.
You're basically about to get a shortcut to understanding the promises, but also the implications of this whole new era in drug development.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that this isn't just AI assisting in drug discovery. We've seen that evolving, right?
Right, that's been happening for a bit.
Yeah. This is about drugs actually created by AI moving directly into human trials. Colin Murdoch, who leads Isomorphic Labs, he's actually stated they are very close to administering these AI-designed drugs to patients.
Very close. That feels like a really significant phrase.
It does. It's not tentative.
No, it signals more than just like incremental progress. This moment, people are calling it a potential turning point in pharmaceutical development.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, for good reason, wouldn't you say? It promises to fundamentally speed up the whole drug discovery process and maybe dramatically reduce that notoriously high failure rate that's just plagued the industry for, well, decade.
Exactly. And when you connect that to the bigger picture, I mean, traditional drug development, it's incredibly costly, incredibly time-consuming. You're talking, what, roughly 15 years, maybe more, to bring just one drug to market?
15 years, yeah.
And even then, even after all that time and money, traditional methods, they often yield only about a 10% success rate once drugs actually get into clinical trials.
Just 10%? That's pretty staggering when you think about the investment.
It is. So AI aims to radically improve those odds. The hope is to achieve, a much higher conviction that these drugs will actually work, that they'll perform effectively in human trials.
A higher conviction rate that could revolutionize pretty much everything in pharma. So what's the secret sauce here? What's enabling Isomorphic Labs to make such, well, ambitious strides?
Well, a huge part of the answer lies in AlphaFold.
Ah, AlphaFold. Right. Born out of DeepMind.
Exactly. And it's so revolutionary that the developers, John Jumper and Demis Hassabis, they actually got the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for it in 2027.
The Nobel Prize, yeah. So, okay, help us understand. What's the unique power of AlphaFold? What sets it apart?
Okay, so to really get it, think of a protein like a tiny, incredibly intricate machine inside our bodies. Its 3D shape, how it's folded, dictates its function. Think of it like a specific key needing to fit into a specific lock.
Right. Structure equals function.
Precisely. And for decades, predicting that precise 3D shaped protein folding, that was one of biology's grand challenges.
Yeah.
It used to take years of painstaking lab work for just one protein.
Years.
AlphaFold basically cracked that. It predicts the structure with incredible accuracy.
Okay, that's impressive in itself, but how does that translate to drugs?
Right. Because here's where it gets, as you said, far more useful for drug discovery. AlphaFold has evolved. It's gone beyond just predicting individual protein structures. It can now accurately model how these protein machines interact with other molecules.
Yeah.
Things like DNA or even existing drugs.
Ah, the interactions.
Yes. That ability to understand these complex molecular interactions with such precision, it essentially gives us the blueprint of the lock, right? And that helps us design the ideal custom-fitted key, the drug.
That's a fantastic analogy. So Isomorphic's AI models, they can crunch through just immense amounts of biological data. Pinpoint specific drug targets those key molecules or pathways linked to a disease, and then design entirely new chemical compounds, new keys to hit those targets precisely.
Exactly. Designing them from scratch, essentially. It's a level of targeted design and, crucially, speed that was just, well, unimaginable before.
Unimaginable speed.
Yeah.
And the potential impact on the timeline, you mentioned 15 years traditionally.
Yeah, the traditional slog. The hope here is that this technology could slash it down to maybe 18 months.
15 years down to 18 months.
That's the ambition. from identifying a target to having a drug candidate ready for trials.
Wow. I mean, just consider what that means for rapidly responding to, say, new pandemics or accelerating treatments for chronic conditions.
It's potentially transformative, absolutely.
And Isomorphic Labs itself, you mentioned, is spun out of DeepMind. That was back in 2021, right?
Correct. With the specific mission to apply AlphaFold's power to these real-world pharmaceutical challenges.
So they're not just like theorizing in an academic setting.
Oh no, far from it.
Yeah.
In their London office right now, scientists are actively working, collaborating with AI, designing drugs specifically for cancer.
Cancer's the initial focus, though.
Yes, they're actively staffing up for these human trials, and the initial focus is on developing oncology candidates, cancer drugs. They're also working on drug candidates in immunology, likely for future licensing deals. This is a serious operation.
It sounds like it. And they've got the backing to prove it, right? That big funding round.
A huge one. In April 2025, Isomorphic Labs secured a massive $600 million in its first external funding round, led by Thrive Capital.
$600 million. That's serious confidence from investors.
It absolutely is. And according to the CEO, Sir Demis Hassabis, who also co-founded DeepMind, this funding will, and I'm quoting here, further turbocharge the development of our next-generation AI drug design engine and help us introduce our own programs into clinical development.
So they're building their own pipeline, too.
Turbocharge, I like that.
Yeah.
And it's not just venture capital, is it? They have big pharma partnerships, too.
They do. Really significant research collaborations with giants like Novartis and Eli Lilly. Those partnerships alone are worth nearly $3 billion combined.
$3 billion. Okay, so the established players clearly see the potential here. They're not ignoring this.
Absolutely not. Those collaborations are a massive indicator that the established pharmaceutical world sees the immense, possibly disruptive value in what Isomorphic is doing. And importantly, this isn't just an isolated effort. Isomorphic is a leader, yes, but many other biotechs are jumping in.
Companies like Anima Biotech, Pharos AI, Ictos. They're also leveraging AI heavily in drug development. And even the really big players are making huge AI moves. Look at Novo Nordisk, their massive $2.76 billion partnership with Valo Health back in January 2025. That's all about AI drug discovery.
So it's definitely an industry-wide shift happening, not just one company.
For sure. There's data to back that up, too. Global data reports there are currently over 3,000 drugs being developed or repurposed using AI in some capacity.
3,000, wow.
Yeah, now, most of them are still in the early stages, discovery or preclinical, but it shows a really strong growing reliance on AI. The goal is enhancing R&D productivity, expanding those drug pipelines faster.
And what's the general feeling within the industry? Are people confident this will actually work, that AI can deliver?
The confidence seems remarkably high. There was a 2024 global data survey, quite revealing. It found that a striking 82% of healthcare industry professionals believe that digital transformation, including AI, can significantly or moderately shorten drug development timelines.
82%. That's a huge consensus, isn't it?
It really is. It tells you that across the field, from researchers to executives, there's a strong belief that this isn't just hype. It's a fundamental shift.
That level of industry confidence is pretty remarkable. It really speaks to how profoundly AI seems poised to reshape medicine. It brings to mind that quote from Colin Murdoch at Isomorphic Labs, his ambitious vision for the future.
Yes, the click a button quote.
Exactly. He said, one day we hope to be able to say, well, here's a disease, and then click a button and out pops the design for a drug to address that disease.
It sounds like science fiction, but given the trajectory,
Yeah.
maybe not so far-fetched down the line.
It really makes you think. So as we stand here, right on the precipice of these AI-designed drugs entering human trials, let's leave our listeners with this thought. What does it actually mean for our understanding of health, of illness, when the solutions to some of humanity's most complex diseases might increasingly be generated not just by human ingenuity, brilliant as it is, but by the relentless evolving intelligence of machines?
Yeah.
How might this fundamentally reshape your approach to medicine, your understanding of it, and redefine the very process of scientific discovery itself? Something to ponder.
Subscribe to New Deep Dive.